It's working.
Okay, sorry for that. Oh, okay. Aku sesuai dengan kerja. Aku sesuai.
One, two, one, two. Got it. So it is officially time to start, and yet there's a lot of people out there still queuing for coffee, and 1 in 5 should be here. There are 5 tracks. I want 20% of those people. Yeah, good. Tomorrow, my next talk, I'll ask them to bring the coffee machine here.
Or maybe change the title, Suddenly Coffee.
So good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome. I hesitated a long time on how to put punctuation in this title. Should I put suddenly, comma, reality, ... one or the other? Finally dropped it all. Let you figure out yourself. My thanks to all these wonderful people who are paying for my hotel. I appreciate it. I don't know if any of their representatives are in the room. It's a big room. It's an awkward room. I'm sorry if I'm pacing up and down, but I'm trying to please everybody. I've been giving public talks now for some years. I have spoken at IT Camp for the past 4 years. 4 years. This is my 4th year at IT Camp. For those of you who were here last year, you're going to recognize a few of my slides in the beginning. I'm sorry about that, but this presentation sort of follows on from where we got last year. So I just need a little reminder for those of you who were not here last year. After all, we've got 100 more people here than last year. It's very interesting. Year 5, there were 500 people. Year 6, there were 600 people. Coincidence? I think not. I have been selling process improvement, and more particularly, I have been selling CMMI for about 20 years. And so it's with great pleasure that I'm giving a talk on the subject, why it doesn't work. My focus, and your focus in general, has to be, whatever you are doing, on quality. Understanding what that means, what quality means. Quality is a very fluid concept. For different companies, for different people, it means completely different things. The reason you need to focus on quality is very simple. I'm following on from the previous talk, for those who were in this room for the previous talk about starting up a business. The reason you have to focus on quality is that whatever product you are building, whatever service you are delivering, I can find it somewhere else. And I can probably find it cheaper. But what I cannot find somewhere else is the level of quality you provide. If you want to survive, you need to have a clear understanding of what quality means to you and understand why you are better quality than other companies. Why do you need that? Because you are in an extraordinary world today. When I started work 40-some years ago, there was a saying that if you have a happy customer, they might tell somebody. If you have an unhappy customer, they will tell 10 people. It was a reminder that you need to be 10 times as good every time you have an unsatisfied customer in order to catch up. It was a good concept. Today, that idea is nonsense. If you have an unhappy customer, they are going to tell 100, 1,000, 1 million people instantly at the speed of electricity. If you dissatisfy your customers, that is your world reputation that can be blown. These updates are from this morning. So I took the numbers at about 10 o'clock this morning. At about 10 o'clock this morning, we already had 39,412 websites that had been hacked. Just give you an idea of the world we live in. It is very scary. And it's not getting any better, okay? The speed of connectivity is growing fast. Connections, not just electronic connections, but personal connections. I have, through the miracle of Facebook and Twitter, I have friends who I have never met all over the world. We have some point of interest. We have something that we like to share, other than pictures of kittens. This is growing at an extraordinary speed, and you are facing a global market and global competition. There are people all over the world. There are people in East Asia, in South Africa, in Western Europe, in North America, who want your job, who want your business, who want your money. Not nice, friendly, neighborly people who are going to take good care of you because they know you, people who don't care a bit about you. All they want is your money, your customers, your business. So you've started up the business, things are working, you've started developing things, and your quality is growing, and then at some point you find your market is beginning to flag. Why is your market no longer growing? What's gone wrong? Something has happened, and need to do some research, find out what it is, but you need to find the impulse, the something or other which is going to revitalize your company, bring it back up there, moving forward again. If you don't notice that the trend is going down in your company, you have another problem. But you try and think, how can I revitalize this? How can I make this company work again? You're intelligent people, so of course, what do? You go and look at the great classics. I've avoided putting any recent books up here so as not to offend anyone. These are all great books on how to increase your quality, improve your business. And so you read these books and you think, yes, that's it. That's what I want. I want what he's describing. I want... What do I want? I've read these great theories, but that doesn't correspond to my real life. That doesn't correspond at all to the way I don't know how to implement this. How do I go from where I am to where they are saying I should be? So you call in a consultant. Let's say you call in a good consultant who is willing, contrary to many consultants, to actually listen to you and to understand your problem before proposing the solution. There are consultants who've got ready-made solutions, don't really care about your problem. They know how to hammer a screw. So you listen to the consultant. Consultant is great, gives you great ideas, motivates, talks to your staff, gets them all motivated, rearing to go. They really want to do this. And then the consultant goes home, and suddenly reality comes in. What did he say we had to do? Yes, maybe next week. I have to free up staff to do this. We don't have staff available. How do I get this motivation back? I know. Let's organize an audit. Okay? This is great. We're going to do an audit, an appraisal, an evaluation, something. I've now got an end date. I've got a checklist of things that I have to do. I have got it all laid out. I've got a project. We can manage this. Now, we can measure progress going towards this. What happens when you do an audit? It's a bit like when you have an exam in school. Some of you might remember being in school not so long ago. For me, it's a little bit back. When you saw a subject, what was the question you were most likely to ask? Was it, "Excuse me, teacher, will this additional bit of knowledge help me influence the world and make my loved ones and my environment a better and safer place?" Or was it, "Excuse me, teacher, is this going to be on the exam?" Meaning that when you do an audit, you are going to start doing the wrong things, and you're going to start doing the right things for the wrong reasons. If you pass your audit, you'll probably start losing all the benefits very rapidly afterwards. But that's okay. I'll tell you what. We've tried this model, this framework, this theory. Let's try another one, okay? Maybe it's the model's fault. And so we start looking at what other models there are out there to help me improve. And here's the joke, all of them fail. Why do they fail? For a very simple reason. You need three things to produce quality. Okay? You may have seen this before. You need a balance between process, technology, and people. But that's not the important part of this. The problem with all these models, frameworks, theories, is that they are looking either at your technology or at your process, and it's not them. It's the people who are producing the quality. The process does not produce quality. The technology does not produce quality. They are only useful if they support the people. And that your auditor will never show you. He's just going to tick off the list of things to do. So instead of considering what is process, what is technology, the question you should be asking is, what is people? And that's the challenging question, because you're difficult to manage. People are very awkward, you see. They are combinations of everything. You are a combination of everything you have read, everything you have heard, everything you have watched. You are the sum total of your DNA, of your ancestry, of your education, of everything that has happened to you, which makes you completely unique in the universe. And therefore, I can't manage you like a piece of technology. I need to understand this. To make matters worse, you are the most powerful computer that we have. When you compare yourself to other computers, you find they are very big and they're not as powerful as you are. And in addition to that, your computer comes with a handy body underneath to carry it around. How do you manage the people? How do you make that happen? Here's the problem with people. Here's why they're so difficult to manage. You have got, I'll call them two processes because you're a bunch of IT people. You've got two processes in your mind which are called type 1 and type 2. And type 1 and type 2 do different things, and they react to each other. Type 1 is your instinctive thing. It's you immediately see this. These are all activities you can understand, you can do the calculation, you can understand the road sign, you can walk and talk, all this without thinking. This is your natural ability. These are your type 1 processes. Your type 2 processes are a lot more difficult to manage. They are the ones that make you stop what you're doing. You have to switch off type 1 in order to use type 2. This suddenly requires concentration. You've all had it. You're busy walking and talking about something, and someone asks, do you actually understand the political situation in Syria? And the first thing you do is stop walking to try to explain it. If you've got children and you're driving through town and it's bad weather and you get to a bit of town you don't know, you ask the children to stop talking so that you can drive. There is a combination of both these things which need to work. This works also in businesses. I just said that. Let's give this a test. On the following slide, there is a word written in a collar, and I am going to ask you to shout out the name of the collar. Okay? I'm going to make you work now. It's not complicated. You look at the word and tell me what color it is in. So give it a try. Blue. Everyone shout blue. Blue. Okay, you see that wasn't difficult. Red. Good, we're getting there. Green. Yes. Red. Green. Hey, this is your type 1. Blue. Yellow, blue, blue. This is red, green. What's 421 times 60? Green, blue, yellow, blue, green. Remember this? Green, blue, green, blue. Okay, what was the answer? Who calculated it? Not a single one of you. It's not difficult. 421, 4 times 60, 24, 2 times 60, 12, 1 times 6, 6. It comes to 25,260. I was expecting at least someone to stop calling out colors to calculate it, because it is not difficult. You had to switch off your type 1 processor in order to switch on your type 2 processor. You had to interrupt yourself. In the 19th century, a new species evolved in the world, which is the corporation. Originally, people started business because they wanted to help someone, offer a service, provide food, something like that. And then slowly came the time that they grew and the corporations started to survive in order to survive. These large corporations want to kill to eat, just like every other living species. They are interested in reproducing rather than in providing a service. And they work the same way with type 1 and type 2 process. Let me illustrate this. This was a bank. Friendly guy who would keep your money safe for you. Then it grew a little bit and we started putting barriers in, and then it started becoming something imposing. Okay, it has now moved from being a friendly neighborhood place where you can keep your money safe to being a Greek temple to the money god. And then it grew beyond that, and it became this inhuman thing. And then to make things even better, they decided to replace humans with machines. I'll tell you what. Let's even get rid of those. This is what we've grown into. How do you change something this big? How do you improve quality when the objective has become to make a profit rather than to help people? Consultant comes in, challenges your comfort zone and says, stop doing what you're doing. Do what I tell you to do. Switch off all your level 1 processes and come and do my stuff. Doesn't work. Doesn't work because your level 1 processes are still keeping you spinning. You're busy firefighting. You're busy struggling. Every company I have been in for the past 20 years has complained that they don't have enough resources because you're spinning. I come in and I say, look, change is easy. This is what you need. Strong leadership, sense of urgency, vision of success, all this great stuff. That's all you need to do. Except, of course, that most companies I go into, when I say vision, they go blank. Leadership. Okay. In comes the consultant who tells you, throw it all away, stop whatever it is you're doing, do what I tell you to do, and all will be well. You can't. You can't. What do you need in order to stop? Not enough. You need kinetic energy. People don't know what kinetic energy is. Let me simplify it. Okay? This is the formula for kinetic energy. It is 1/2 the mass multiplied by your speed squared. You've heard the statement, it's like turning around a tanker. How long does it take to turn or stop a tanker when it's going full speed ahead? That's the size problem. But the speed side, in your business, how fast are you spinning? How quick are you running on this hamster wheel? Can you actually step off? I saw a great little YouTube that I wanted to put on here, but then I forgot about it, I'm afraid, about 2 hamsters on the wheel, one of which kept on falling off. Okay? You're in this big company, you're a large organization, you're doing a lot of stuff, you're going fast, you're getting more and more frustrated, and when I come along and talk about change, you are thinking off. Let's talk about change. I'm going to show here 2 types of change. This is the change that you want or you think you want. Okay? Cute little chicken dinner. My apologies to the vegetarians. What is the change you are most likely to get? Well, egg wobbles a bit, and that's where you end up. With this, difficultly. It's got bits of eggshell in it, it's got a mess. Why is it so difficult? Because we have been doing it wrong. We've been doing it wrong from the start. Because nobody has the time to do it right. What does it mean to do right? It means understanding what is actually going wrong. Okay? This is the scientific method. Very simple. State the problem. First problem. Regularly, I'm going into companies and I'm asking them why they want to change, what they want to change, and they say, we need to standardize. Why do you want to standardize? Because it's good. Those who know that I'm coming there to sell them process improvement tell me we need process. They think that will please me, and no. State that what is actually the problem? Why are you having so much trouble saying what's wrong? Then we can make guesses at what the reason might be. What might it be that's causing this problem? I don't know if it's right or wrong. Let's do this scientifically. Let's try and identify the cause of the problem and test it out and see what happens. And then, if the results work, we're good, we found it. But that's not easy to do. Because the basic concept of the scientific method is that a true scientist is proving that the hypothesis does not work. It is only when they fail to prove that the hypothesis does not work that they actually discover what was right. We tend to forget that aspect today. We tend to focus on, here's a hypothesis, let's twist the results so that it looks like it worked. I am happy to sell you, I've often said this, I'm happy to sell you every process you need in your company, and I will guarantee it does not work for you. Why? Because it doesn't match your problem. It doesn't match your environment. So, while I'm on the scientific method, here are two sciences that I suggest you look into if you want to change something, if you want to improve something, if you want to improve quality, if you want to reduce overtime, if you want to reduce the number of people who are leaving the company. One very little known science, which I love, which is called agnotology. In the older text it is called agnatology. I don't know why they changed the name, which is the science of what we don't know. And why don't we know it? The basic concept of agnotology is to try to identify what are the cultural and educational barriers that are keeping you from knowing things that would be useful to you. Metrology is the other science of measurement. When I say measurement, most people get confused and think I'm talking about numbers. Measurement is not about numbers. I don't care about the numbers. I'll give you a definition of measurement for you, which you can try to use. A measurement is objective evidence which reduces my uncertainty. Doesn't have to be numbers. It has to be objective, it has to be evidence, and it has to reduce my uncertainty about something. Applying these two to your business, to your work on a regular basis should help you identify why things are going wrong. Why isn't it working as well as you expected? Okay. So, now I've told you why nothing works, why reality gets in the way. Let's talk about some of the key things that are necessary in order to make things evolve. If I want to reduce the number of defects by my customers, if I want to reduce the number of security gaps in my system, if I want to reduce the number of people leaving the company, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, we always come back to the same things. Number one, you need a vision. What is this going to look like when you succeed? Let me rephrase that. What would it look like if you succeeded? Okay? Someone I was working with ages ago said that the vision is lying about the future. I'm quite happy with that. Okay? Tell me about the perfect world you're going to live in once you've done all this. Inspire me. A vision is something that that interests me, tempts me. I would like to be part of that. I would like to be able to say, I was there when that happened. I was on the team that developed the iPod when people were happy with Walkman. Should I say Walkman or Walkmans? It's not an English word, so I don't know what the plural is. I've got my vision. Now I need skills. Who's going to do this? What do you need to know? What do you need to be able to do? Training more than training. Education is much better than training. Do you understand the difference between education and training? Let me give you a simple example. I love this example that someone once said, "My daughter gets sex education in school, that's a good thing." Incentives. Why should I change the way I work? What's in it for me? I don't mean money, okay? I'll tell you what, if you really do this well and do this, you can go to a conference. You can get training. You can go to a course. We can do something. We can organize something for you around your job. And that is a double incentive because first, you're interested, you want to improve the way you're working, and guess what? You're bringing back whatever it is you learned to the business. Resources. Resources, resources, resources. Who are the resources you need in order to change? They are the ones who are already overworked and not available as long as you haven't done it. Resources is people, it's tools, it's money, it's time, it's all of those things. An action plan. How does what I'm doing today fit into what I'm doing this week, fit into what I'm doing this month, fit into what I'm doing this year, fit into this vision? And I've got all this now, and now things can change. If any one of them is missing, you'll fail. Without a vision, you're just going to create confusion. Without the skills, you're going to create levels of anxiety which are going to be destructive. You're going to be even worse off than before you started. Without the incentives, you're going to ask me to stop my level 1 processes and start using my level 2 processes, which is tiring, which is difficult. Why would I do it? Slow. Resources? That's the big question. Yes, I agree we have to do this. Yes, I want to do this. Yes, I think it's a fantastic idea. Yes, I can understand what the impact is going to be. But I don't have time. I'm still on the hamster wheel. I'm still running. Without an action plan, we'll do things. They seemed like a good idea at the beginning. Never amount to anything. And you get this new idea to change and improve things. It's the flavor of the month. Next month, management will think of something else. The other aspect which is often failed is that you want to change things and you think you know where the problem is, and so you start changing the engineering. Or you start telling the testers to test better. That doesn't work, okay? Coming back to the idea of the organization as a living being, ask the doctor, okay? Doctor, looked at this, all is well. Heart is in perfect working order, stomach is in perfect working order, liver is in perfect work. Why is he dead? Because I took out the heart, the stomach, and the liver to examine them, okay? Why do we do this in business? Your business is an entity. As long as you don't think of it as a complete system, you're going to fail. One aspect, in order to understand this, is I very strongly, and I'm coming back to metrology here, is understanding what is actually the cost of quality on the work you are doing. I don't mean the cost of testing, I mean the cost of quality. That includes testing, that includes lost customers, that includes all kinds of things. Every time someone is unhappy with what you have done, it's costing you. Yes, you need to test, absolutely. If you need to test a second time, you're wasting your money. Understanding this, putting in place a measurement system according to this, will start making things happen because you start to see where it is you need to focus your attention. It's one option that's solved. For 20 years I've been selling CMMI, so I will give you a little bit of that. This is the heart of it. This is for me the great strength of CMMI, because it works. With or without the model, I don't care. It works. If you want to do things, it all starts up here in the left-hand corner, in the world. Understanding your marketplace, understanding your strategy, understanding your competition, understanding what is there, what are you fighting against. Based on that, I can identify my business objectives and determine whether I need processes and why I need processes. And I can then communicate to everyone what I expect from the processes. Don't tell me what I have to do. I know my job. Tell me what you expect as outcome, as results. And we're going to check that this investment is giving us a benefit. I want management to come and tell me what's the value of this. I'm always surprised at the number of company managers who can tell me the cost of everything but have no idea how to measure the value of an activity. Why are you doing it? Now I'm going to start a new activity, a new project, something new, and instead of just planning based on my customer requirements, I am going to plan based on my corporate expectations. That is just as important as my customer requirements. And I am going to have an independent, objective body who is going to check that what I'm planning to do matches the expectations. And then we can start work. And I'm going to provide the resources and the technology and the tools and the systems and whatever it is you need, and the methodologies, all this good stuff so that you can do the work. And I am going to monitor it on an ongoing basis. That seems obvious. Surprisingly, it isn't. Surprising how many companies are not monitoring their projects in a realistic way. Project manager and my independent control body, which I've called quality assurance here, together will check whether you did and you're reporting what you plan to do, and will independently and objectively check whether you have used the resources correctly and efficiently and effectively. That will allow me then to report this to management and say, you know, this team, they're really doing it well, they've met their... What they are reporting is true. This is not the project manager pretending to be on time so that you leave him alone. It is true. It is effective. And that will then allow management to come and say, I need to change my process needs. Now that we've solved this problem, let's move on to the next one. And in addition to that, I am going to be able to capture lessons learned and understand why it worked, what were the results, why this was successful, and feed that back into the next project as a best practice. I don't have any paper versions of this anymore, but if you want to contact me, I can send you a PDF, which is A3 size, that allows to basically understand this graphic. Someone's keeping time for me. I'm not sure who. I don't know where I am. What time am I supposed to finish? I've still got a good quarter of an hour. Okay. I'm going to finish early. Really? Keys to success. What do you need? Number one, system thinking. Consider your whole company, consider the impact it has. When I talk about quality in the software industry, the answer I get most frequently is testing. Okay? There's still somewhere people out there who believe that you can test quality into a product. You can't. Why is your testing failing? Because you didn't understand the requirements at the beginning. It's all related. You're in a system. Your whole company is a system. You have to understand the impact. I was in an organization a while back. They make transmissions for cars. And we were doing a risk management workshop and talking, okay, software is 1 day late, who cares? That's not a big risk. Okay, why are you even talking about it? It's just 1 day of the software department. And then someone pointed out, the software department, which is 1 day late, means that the factory is going to be 1 day late, the factory which produces 6,000 transmissions per day with a sales price of whatever it was. And that was the cost of being 1 day late for the software department. Now suddenly they understood the system. It's not just you that is late. It is impacting the whole company. It's impacting your customers. It is having a ripple effect. You've all heard the story of the butterfly that flaps its wings in South America and creates a tornado in Asia. It's still happening. And sometimes you're the butterfly. Personal mastery. I was working in a company, large insurance company, very large insurance company, and they hired a new guy in their process improvement team. And I said to the manager, this is a young chap, he's early 20s, dynamic, full of ideas. I said, make the best of him. Use him as much as you can before you have completely discouraged and killed off his spirit. It was less than a year later that the guy was working 9 to 5 and doing what he was told to do. It is extraordinary how we can kill people in business. You were hired, for those of you who don't own the business, you were hired because someone thought you had something extraordinary to bring. Someone thought you were just the thing we needed to complete the puzzle. And what did they do to kill that? At what point did you start losing your enthusiasm? If you are managing people, consider what you have done to kill your team's enthusiasm. How did that happen? I keep on coming back to the same question. If you are managing people, you need to know why they are working. What are they working for? They're not there just to please you. Okay? They can work somewhere. What is it that, who is there to pay for their daughter's university course? Who is there to pay for their parents' pension? Who is there to earn enough money to get drunk on Friday night? You have to understand this if you want them to be able to give their best. Mental models. Mental models, that's one of the big killers also. Oh, I'm not going to ask that. They'll never accept it. I'm not going to tell management that. He's bound to say no. Who says? Why do you think management is going to say no and not accept it if you've got a valid proposition? What's this mental model where you are assuming things will not work? Be daring. Go for it. Team learning. You are, I assume, all working somewhere in the IT industry, or then you misread the name of this conference. But I'm assuming you are all working somewhere in the IT industry. That means that you are doing an intellectual, creative job, and you have got above average intelligence, and the people working for you have got above average intelligence. Accept that as a fact. Number two, most of you would not be ashamed to call yourself an engineer. Engineers are people who like to study, to understand, and to solve problems. So let's bring the learning cycle back into the team. Let's start encouraging you. Richard Branson, who's one of my heroes, for those of you who don't know the name, he's the man behind the Virgin. For those of you who misinterpreted that, get your mind out of the gutter. Had this wonderful statement. He said, train your people so that they can leave, and treat them so that they don't want to. There's a concept. Shared vision. I'm coming back to the concept of vision. What is your vision? What is your organizational vision? I'm going into companies continuously, and I always ask the same question. Where are you going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years' time? Mihai, just before me in this room, was talking about building the company and building a new company. It starts with a vision. You want to achieve something. You want to do something. Why, in 10, 15, 20 years' time, would I come to you rather than to your competitors? Why would I trust you to provide me something others can't? Second aspect, what is your internal vision, your shared vision, which motivates your people? What is it that people are thinking, I want to be part of that? I want to be in the team that did that. I want to be on the ground floor of this because I believe in the vision. If I ask the people in your company, what is the vision? How many do you think will tell me our vision is, and say what it is? How many will say, I don't know? How many will say, management's vision is? That's not shared. That's something that's been imposed on me. That's it. Questions? We got a few minutes for questions, and then we've got half an hour coffee break for those who are really want to stay on. Yes?
The last one on the slide with vision, is it a real vision?
These are all real visions. These are all real visions.
Real,
Yes.
I don't know if I would like to work for that company.
If you know the vision, you can decide if you want to be part of it. Personally, I try to avoid Walmart and their subsidiaries as much as possible. I think they are horrible money-grabbing people. But I won't say that publicly. I suppose if you've got so many people voting for Donald Trump, this makes sense to someone. No questions? Come on. Oh, yes.
How can a company that is basically selling its services to other companies have a uniform vision? So sort of like
And now how can an outsourcing company have a uniform vision? Good question. So why would I come to you rather than to your competitors? Who do you work for? No, don't tell me. I'm sorry. Don't. As an outsourcing company, I want to be recognized as a company which provides not just the answer to the question, but provides real added value. I want to be recognized globally as a company that is trustworthy to always provide added value on time in budget. Okay? That's an outsourcing vision. I'm sure you can come up with something even better if you think about it for a while. You're an intelligent young lad. always a little bit upsetting when I'm here and I see that most of the people are the age of my children. I'm selling a book. Not here. I'm just pointing it out there. Next Wednesday in a bookshop called Book Story, I'm selling a book. I will do anything for money. No more questions? We've still got 10 minutes? 10 minutes. We've still got 10 minutes before coffee. You're not going to get out of it that easy. Yes? No. If it was easy to make a change, I wouldn't be here telling you how difficult it was. You need energy, and you need, for me, the big thing that I'm missing in most organizations that try to change is leadership. And we tend to confuse leader and manager. They are two completely different species, okay? A manager's role is to keep things stable, to know where we are, to keep an eye on the budget. A leader's role is to keep the eye on the horizon and to go there no matter what's in the way. And the leader inspires people to follow, and the leader makes you wish you could go with them. Leaders are very annoying people. Leaders are very difficult to manage because they will break the rules or ignore the rules. Leaders are usually only recognized after the fact, when you suddenly say, you know, we got here because she did that. She actually made this happen. The traditional statement, which some of you have probably heard me say before, is that if you're in a company that has only managers and no leaders, you won't go anywhere. If you're in a company where you have only leaders and no managers, you will go anywhere. You need the balance between the two. And I have never seen a good manager who is a good leader. So get the inspiration, someone who wants to talk you into this, who wants to bring you out there. Doesn't care about what it costs. Let's do it. Let's go. And by the way, you don't lead from the back. You lead from the front, which means you have to do it yourself. Oh, you can manage from the back, absolutely. You can manage from a bunker in a different country, yes, but... Yes?
So, Peter, you were talking about the change in the organizations and all those stuff, but from an organizational perspective. But most of the time it's about changing people behavior. What's your take on this? How can you change people? Because most of the time that's the key.
Leadership, inspire people to do the right thing. Explain the what's in it for me. Make sure they have the resources, the incentives. Make sure that they share the vision. Make sure that they want to do this. Okay? When you're hiring people, you are hiring the people who fit into your puzzle. They are the missing piece for your puzzle. Make sure that they do that. I'm a little baffled, particularly in IT, where when you are being interviewed for a job, you are being interviewed about the technology you know. I don't care about that. I am interested in knowing that, one, you're going to fit into the team, and two, that you have the capacity to learn the technology you need. Whether you know it or not my problem. How can I now motivate you to fit in and do it? It is extremely difficult. I come back to one of my very first slides. People are very annoying because they're all different. And how do we get them aligned? was listening to a talk recently where there's an English expression that the ducks were aligned. The ducks are never aligned, okay? You will never see the ducks aligned. There's always something going on. The question is, can you use that? Can you use that disruptive person? The one who is making a pain. Years ago, I was going to do a process appraisal in a company, and when I arrived, they told me there's this one guy, Danish guy named Sten. He was one of the original employees of the company. He was known and respected and liked by everyone. He was a true leader. He wasn't a manager, he had no real responsibility, but people listened to him. He had stood up publicly to say, if I am going to be required to work according to processes, I'm going to leave the company. They put him on my process appraisal team. I had him for 1 week. He challenged me in every way. He questioned everything. At the end of the week, he said, by the way, I am volunteering to lead the process improvement team. I had the whole company turned around. Because he turned around, I got the whole company. Find the disruptive element that people admire. Find out how to use that person to the best. Does that answer your question? Yes?
Who should measure the quality inside of a company?
Who should measure the quality inside the company? Ooh. Okay, my first response, my spontaneous response is I don't care who does it as long as it's done. Now, second aspect, if you are going to measure the quality of my work, and you are going to use that in order to reward or punish me, at the end, I will give you rubbish data. I can provide you with the data that proves that it's somebody else's fault and I didn't do it, and I solved the problem. It was actually much worse before. Okay? That's very easy. So you have to establish a level of trust and say, I'm not measuring the quality of you as a person, I am measuring the system, I am measuring the process. I am trying to identify where we need to focus our attention in order to improve things. And by the way, if this does show up that you are the weak person in the team, that means you are going to get more support and training. I have a number of companies that I've worked for who have established in the company policy that any measurement of process or result which is used by a manager to reward or punish an employee will be considered a serious professional fault. So the moment the manager uses the data to reward or punish a person, they can be fired immediately. That establishes a level of trust that I can report what the real data is. There's one measurement of quality which I would love to get. No one has ever managed to provide it to me because it's so sensitive. What is the average number of defects made within your company per hour? Imagine what you could do with that data. I'm planning a job. It's going to take us 1,780 hours of development. Okay, so this is how many mistakes we're going to make. This is how many we find in testing. I can now plan my testing correctly. Wouldn't that be a wonderful idea? Why can't we collect it? Because I don't really want you to know how many mistakes I make, because I might be worse than everybody else and I'd rather you didn't know. We all make mistakes. The idea of improvement, basic idea of improvement, is we are all human. Brief pause for someone to say, not me. Okay? We are all human, therefore we all make mistakes. I want you to accept that, and I want you to encourage it. Okay? Hey, I've just made a mistake. Look at the stupid thing I did. Now you don't have to do it. Okay? It's been done. You can learn from my mistake. The idea behind an improvement program is I want to put in place an infrastructure that allows me to identify and remove the mistake before it becomes a defect. But I don't care who measures it. Let me give you a suggestion. You measure it yourself on your own work. Start measuring your own work. Start measuring the number of errors. I'm told I'm out of time. I am giving a second talk tomorrow, which is correctly listed in the program as a talk with no title and no subject. Okay? I have challenged myself. I've been talking too much, too often. I feel I'm often repeating the same stories, so I have challenged myself that in 1 hour I am going to gather requirements, design the talk, and deliver the talk. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I have now run out of time. If you want me to continue talking, sometime tomorrow afternoon, I'll be there on whatever it is you want to talk about. Thank you.